guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about help. I am not getting training or feedback at my new medical coding job. What should I do? If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. Okay, guys. So this comment came from a viewer who posted it on one of my other videos. So I'm going to read the comment and we're going to get into it. So here we go. All right. So the viewer says, "Hey, Blue. I've been watching your videos when I first got into the program for medical coding. I am now a certified medical coder and working in a department that training is not good for me at all. I'm not given enough time to practice coding claims because I'm processing other claims but not coding. I've mentioned to the manager and her response was, 'Do as you're told.' So I continue processing claims. My shift is 8 hours per day, and I spend 1 to 2 hours coding, and my remaining shift I'm processing claims. I've been training since May of this year, and I'm still not halfway done with training. Also, I have been trained by 5 different people, and all five give me different answers of some of the same questions I ask them, and they don't like training too. For example, I had a trainer that was training me and was watching a show while training me. I had another trainer that left the office early because she just didn't want to stay in the office for long. Also, my manager and the trainers don't give me feedback at all. My manager has never discussed with me about my progress in my training at all. I ask all the people who train me how I'm doing, and their response is okay. I don't know what okay means because they are not giving me detailed, and detailed is in caps, feedback. Please, Blue, can you give me some advice? Thank you." All right, so if you've been with my channel for more than 5 minutes, I have always said that with medical coding and being a brand new medical coder, there's going to be a lot of times where they're not going to want to train you, and veteran coders are going to be that way. They had nobody to train them, so they're not going to train you. And that's the attitude that a lot of medical coders have, because they either got into the field because of the money and they didn't realize it was this much work, and now they're stuck and they have to work in this career field that it wasn't what they thought it was, and they're not going to help you because no one helped them. I don't think that that's right, but at the same time too, it's all about personal responsibility. These people are not giving you detailed feedback. I personally would not like somebody to tell me, "Do as you're told." But then again, everybody's in a different situation. As easily as you were able to find this job, though, I would say that if you are not comfortable here, or if you're not progressing like you think you should be, or there's not enough support for what you actually want to do, which is the coding, then you can always find another job. You don't have to stay stuck at this job. Again, you were able to find this one, you can find another one. And maybe one that is more geared towards coding. This one just sounds like, they're giving you a chance to code. It's not mandatory because that's not what you were hired for. So the thing about it is, you can't really get upset if they're not giving you feedback, because again, they should be giving you feedback, but not all managers are the same. It's just like all surgeons are not the same. All surgeons do not have the same type of training. There's good surgeons, there's bad surgeons. There's good doctors, there's bad doctors. So it really all depends. But in this situation, they're showing you that they're not going to give you feedback. Also, you should not be asking the same question to 5 different people, because guarantee you, it sounds to me like they're playing a game of telephone. Oh, the new person is asking all these questions. Well, I'm not going to answer that question. And so then you ask somebody else, and they may be thinking, why is this person asking the same question when somebody else answered it already? So it's showing, like, if you've done this 5 different times with 5 different people, that maybe you're not writing stuff down. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what your situation is there. But whenever you are in training, you as a brand new medical coder have a responsibility to educate yourself and write down the answers that the people are giving you. So if somebody is training you and you start writing stuff down, they're going to know, okay, this person is taking notes. Because I've had that situation before too, where I help brand new people And I've gotten the same question from the same person over and over and over again. Well, the first time, okay, I get it. It's a lot of information. You're trying to soak it all in. So I'll repeat it again. The second time, shame on you because you didn't take notes the first time that I explained it, and the second time that I explained it, and I'm not going to explain it a third time. That's when I tend to lose my patience because, people need to write stuff down. You need to take notes or have some way to be able to recall the information that's being given to you. All the time that they're taken away from their work, because they have work to do as well, but the time that they're taken away from their work to help you, you should also show appreciation for. Thank you so much for taking the time to help me out on this. I looked this up and I found this, and this. And this is the answer that's confusing me and I don't understand why. And then they can explain it to you. But again, remember that even though people have experience, it does not necessarily mean that they really know what they're doing. There's going to be coders out there who have years of experience, but their experience is very limited. So they are going to be like just based on whatever they know. And then some are going to act like they know a lot and they actually don't. So it really all depends. But again, this goes back to you as a brand new medical coder have the responsibility to first do your research. And then when somebody's taking the time to train you, take notes. Because again, you should not be asking the same question to several different people, because there's going to be times when they're going to talk about you and they're going to say, well, so-and-so was asking me all these questions and they didn't bother to do their research. This is what veteran coders would be saying, okay? So I'm not saying it to be mean or to discourage you from asking questions, but what I am encouraging all of you to do as brand new coders is to, one, walk in there expecting to have to train yourself when it comes to certain things. When you get your certification, this says that you are competent to be able to code. So that's what they're thinking whenever they see you. So when I was first here at my forever home, I got hired in with a batch of people. And our supervisor is a wonderful lady, very strong leader, one of the best leaders that I've ever had. And she said, this is not a training ground. And that was the first thing that she told us when we were doing our orientation. This is not a training ground. I expect you to use critical thinking. I expect you to find your own answers. And I expect you to be able to reach out when you have exhausted all avenues of trying to figure it out on your own. I do not want to have to sit here and hold your hand. And that's the way a lot of places are, but it makes you a stronger coder when you're able to do that. The thing that is really lacking now, especially with these schools, and there's many more schools that are pumping out people and really sort of selling the dream, like, oh yeah, you can get into medical billing and coding, you can work remotely, you can take care of your family, you can travel around, all this garbage they say to sell the field. They don't tell you how hard it is. We have to know what doctors know while never having gone to medical school. I had an appointment with a client a few days ago who was fussing about that and saying, oh, it's highway robbery what they expect medical coders to know. This is part of our duty. It's not highway robbery, it's just included in what we have to know. And the better and more informed you are, and the more knowledge that you can get, the better off you'll be, and the easier it will become. It will never truly be fully easy, but it will get more manageable where you don't feel like you don't know anything. You will feel like you know a thing or two. But then once you get to that point, you're going to get to a point where you're going to learn even more. So that's the thing that you all should know. It's not about that they're picking on you. It's not about that, they're not, doing all these things for you. Is that this is the real world and no one is expected to help you and support you and to give you detailed feedback. Would it be wonderful? Yes. However, it goes back to the same thing of everybody has productivity standards. They have all of these things that they have to do. Least of all, they don't want to have to babysit somebody and to like, okay, well, I'm helping this person, helping this person, helping this person. It should be that you are doing your research on your own, trying to figure things out. Because I have seen brand new coders and even veteran coders. They have lots of so-called experience, but I've seen them where something they're not familiar with, it scares them. They don't want to touch it, and so they skip over it and they move on to the next record, or they do something else or whatever. And you can't do that. I have worked in a level 1 trauma hospital before, and I have been left with all of the grunt work. Grunt work, and meaning that I was left with all of the really difficult charts, and the charts that everyone skipped over and that no one wanted to do. And so if you are in a situation like that, of course it's frustrating, because they have more experience than you, so they should do just as much of the hard work as you, right? Well, sometimes when you get put into situations like that, you have to step up to the plate, which is what I did. And I'm like, okay, well, this really stinks that I have to be the one to do all this stuff, but at least I can get practice with it. So I got practice with working with very difficult multi-trauma charts, and I was able to get faster and better at it. And then when anything else came to me, it was easy, easier to get through, because it's not going to be so overwhelming when you see difficult charts, right? And it's the same thing here in this situation. You're not going to be overwhelmed if you know and accept right away that I'm going to walk in here and they may not want to answer my questions. They may not want to provide me feedback, but that's okay. I'm going to keep doing my research. At the end of the day, it is your responsibility as a medical coder to follow the coding guidelines, to follow the rules of coding, whether it is for the insurance company or for your facility, because everybody has their own rules. It is your responsibility to familiarize yourself with these things. No one will hold your hand through this part. You have to do it. And for some people, they don't want to have to do that. They want to just be told what to do. This is not the field for that. This field, this health information, medical coding, medical billing, it requires you to do a lot of self-study. It requires you to put forth that effort to get that professionalism and be able to do your research when it's required, to reach out when you've exhausted all of these things. And then when you are working with a trainer, you have your list that says, okay, I tried to figure this out on my own. This is what I did. I did this, 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 and this, and this. And it still doesn't make sense to me. There's going to be things like that happen where it's just not going to make sense. Like, how do you know? But you need to show that you've been putting in that effort. If you don't, that's where these veteran coders get very frustrated. And as I've said, I've been patient with brand new people before too, but I've also seen brand new people take advantage of the fact that they were just tired of learning. They didn't want to learn anymore. And so they're like, oh, here, can you help me with this? Didn't even make an effort to do it. And at that point, I can't help you if you do not make efforts to learn something or to figure it out on your own. I can't help you. And it's very frustrating to see, because you see a lot of really good talent go to waste, because then they want to get discouraged, and then they want to get like where they want to give it up because they ran into a little bit of adversity, right? And they're like, well, I'm just so tired and I don't want to do this. My brain hurts, and all this other talk and self-defeating talk. And unfortunately, they want to allow their feelings to take over. If you do that, you're already playing a losing game, because feelings are going to be what keeps you down. Feelings are going to be what makes you not want to try, because you're going to be so wrapped up in how you feel and how you think, and that everybody's against you. No one is against you. No one is. They're just so busy trying to take care of their own things. They're just so busy trying to take care of their own self. And because there are so many resources out there, as far as there's free videos all the time about anatomy, medical terminology, HIPAA, and all of these things. And I've done my demonstration videos before on my channel about coding and things like that. I did them before, way back when I first started the channel. There wasn't a positive response because a lot of people thought that they could be ungrateful and just make all kinds of crazy comments. Okay, so if you want to do that, then I'm going to take it away. I'm going to take it away and I'm going to give it to my Patreons, which is exactly what I did. So because there are so many different avenues and boot camps that you can take, HC Pro is the one that I recommend. They have some for outpatient coding, inpatient coding, evaluation and management. There's lots of coding boot camps out there. You would have to pay for those coding boot camps, but any kind of investment towards making yourself a better professional is going to make things easier and less stressful for you in the future. All right. So should you want to continue to pursue those things, know that it's going to be on your shoulders, and know that there are places to go for help and support. I did the video about how to study for evaluation and management, and I gave many different programs that can help and the books that I recommend to help learn evaluation and management. I'm not going to repeat them here, so don't ask me. It'll be in the description box. But I put those out there. So there are resources out there, but again, a lot of times people are still writing in because they're not paying attention to when I say, okay, they're in the description box, or even the fact that, just to let your fingers do the walking and do a Google search or do a YouTube search on whatever subject it is that you're trying to figure out, right? They don't want to do that. They want to be told exactly where to go and exactly what to do. And that's not the type of field that this is. You have to learn to do your research. Some of the happiest students I have seen are the ones that get so excited about discovering this website or that website, or they found this and they found that, and you kind of fall down a rabbit hole, looking at all these things, and you start learning where your resources are, where you can find things to help you to understand, But the most frustrated students are the ones that I see that they want people to show them, tell them, and explain it to them. And the ones that will pay for a tutor and do all these things, they're like the people that are falling down the rabbit hole, finding all of these websites. They get very excited because now they had somebody explain to them and they understand. You can't expect people to support you and help you for free, right? Although there are mentors out there who will be happy to answer your questions. I see a ton of them talk all the time on LinkedIn. You can put on LinkedIn your comment saying that you're looking for a mentor, but if you say you're looking for a tutor, expect to have to pay. Mentors, they don't pay. You don't pay them. It's just a courtesy that, it's a professional courtesy that they're doing for you. And again, if you find a wonderful mentor like that, then you need to treat them like gold and, show your appreciation, because that's why people sometimes will stop doing it, because people just take advantage. So it is a two-way street, and it is about making yourself very independently motivated to be able to learn these things on your own. That's what independently motivated means, that you have to do it. It has to be driven in you. You have to be the driver, and not just depending on all these other people to give you feedback just because they're your manager. Again, not all managers are going to be great. There's going to be some that you're going to have that are going to be wonderful. You're going to learn a lot from. And then there's going to be some that you just cannot wait to get away from, because you're going to learn from that person what is unacceptable in a leader to you, right? So that's just where I would say those things, But like I said, I don't like the fact that they were saying do as you're told. I don't like that, because even in our ethical standards, if we see something that is not correct, we cannot just do what we're told. Coders don't do that. Coders are designed to question, and coders are designed to make sure that everything is being followed, and that if we see something that is incorrect, we are supposed to speak up. We are not supposed to be the little side wallflower who doesn't say anything. We have to be able to say, look, I don't think that this is right because I see this coding clinic, I see this CPT assistant, I see this regulation, and this says this, and according to this policy or whatever, this is wrong because of these things. And you may not always be right. It may just be like a misinterpretation of whatever you're reading, but it doesn't mean that you can't speak up. You can't just sit there and just say, oh, well, my supervisor told me. Because at the end of the day, they're going to look at everybody who touched those records. They're going to ask you questions. And if you have to go to court and say, why did you select these codes? You have to be able to answer. Not that I didn't get training, my supervisor didn't teach me, and I didn't learn all these things. Because in the supervisor's mind, you were supposed to have been trained by the program that you went through, or by the independent study that you went through. That's the time for the training, not in the real world. And if you find yourself where you're like that, where you say, well, Blue, I just don't feel ready because I don't feel like I learned anything. Take the time to go back through the workbooks and learn from them. Again, there are so many free resources out there. And if you say, well, Blue, I'm so tired of studying, and I can guarantee you there's probably an issue with the way that you're studying, right? You're trying to cram in too many hours at one time. You're not doing enough time, so it's always going to be a balance, guys. So whatever it is that you are going to do, just know that when it comes to coding, it is a great and it is a wonderful field. You cannot be on the sidelines. You have to always take a proactive approach. If you're not learning from something, then you have to be proactive enough to say, you know what, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to go down another avenue so that way I can figure what I need to do next. I've had people who I've tutored who say, Blue, I didn't learn in my program, but I heard on your video that you do tutoring and I need help. And so when I spend some time with them, then you start seeing that light bulb go right off, and they're like, now I get it. Why couldn't I have somebody explain this to me before? Because again, not everybody who teaches should be a teacher, right? And it's just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. But there are some people that just do that because they're there to collect a check and go home. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to them what happens in your career, because in their mind, it's all about them. And that's why I say, don't worry about these other people and what they're saying and what they're thinking, because at the end of the day, they're concerned about themselves. They're not concerned about you. No one is trying to do anything to sabotage you. They're just concerned about themselves, And so that's why I say, then you need to take the bull by the horns and you need to chart your own course. You need to be able to get in there and work through the workbooks, or go to the websites, go to cms.gov, do the reading of the FAQs. You can navigate that. Yes, the website does get a lot of rabbit holes in there on that website, but it's a lot of really good reading as well, and technology is here to help you, because if you go through, you can always listen, if you go through a certain browser, through Microsoft Edge, you can listen to those things, so that way you're not always having to read. So that's just an alternative. But if you're telling me that you watch my videos, you'll know these things, guys. You will. Because I feel like a broken record. I feel like I say the same things a lot. But at the same time, my audience is growing, so I have to say it again. But these are the things that I'm always going to tell you guys. If no one else is teaching you, you got to teach yourself. And you got to stop complaining about it. Don't complain about it. Now, I'm not saying that she did, okay? I'm not saying that she did. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that there's a lot of people who will get into these situations and then start complaining. And you see them on Facebook. And if you're in one of those Facebook groups they're always complaining, get out of there. I created a Facebook page for Medical Coding with Blue. There's barely any subscribers on there, probably because I don't post a lot on there. But it allows y'all to talk to each other if you want to. But at the same time, I'm going to watch it where there's not going to be any of this tomfoolery and this negative talk. Get out of those Facebook medical coding groups that are negative, or any of these other chat boards that you're in, because people will say things ignorantly, and they will say things like they know and they don't know. Okay? So that's all I'm going to say. But you got to take personal responsibility for the things that you are putting into your mind and your body. Don't put bad things into your mind, like people in their bad attitudes of do as you're told. Okay, then if that was the case, if it was me, I would stay there until I found another job. I would stay until I found a job where I'm doing something that I want to do, which is coding. because there's a lot of employers out there. And again, if you're able to get this job, you're able to get another one. You're able to get another one, and you can add on the things that you learned at that job and for the next job. You know, I'm just saying. So anyway, I hope this helps. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up, guys. You got to be tough. You have to. There's no getting around it. And even if you are a shy person, because I'm a shy person too, even if you are a shy person, you can still do this, and you can still be very successful at it. Anybody who has that desire can be successful at this, okay? But you have to do the studying. I'm just saying. So, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!